Breaking news tonight at 5. In just the last 2.5 hours, we've gotten a clearer picture of what happened before, during, and after the mass shooting in the Greenwood Park Mall.
Tonight at 5 o'clock, we now know the name of the shooter, the man who stopped him, and the 3 people who lost their lives.
And we can't forget that wasn't the only mass shooting in the area just last night. Today, Beech Grove police told us they're trying to find this car here, the one you see on your screen, after someone shot 4 people at a local park, killing one of them. And we've got live team coverage tonight from Beech Grove to Greenwood as we learn who the victims were of the mall shooting, the name of the man who took their lives, and the brave Hoosier who stepped in to put a stop to it all.
We're going to get to all of that tonight at 5, but we want to begin with Anne Marie, who joins us live from Greenwood tonight. Anne?
Well, good evening. Certainly, this is a community that is in mourning right now. It's been 24 hours since those first shots were fired here inside the Greenwood Park Mall right behind me. We want to give you a little bit of perspective of where this is so you can understand. Take a look at this map. We want to show you the mall is off of U.S. Highway 31 North. Zoom in to show you the food court. That's where the shooting went down. That's right near Dick's Sporting Goods and Old Navy. In fact, today we learned that the shooter was identified as 20-year-old Jonathan Sapirman. He's from Greenwood, and police tell us that they believe he was already in that food court bathroom yesterday at this time. And he was in there for more than an hour before he came out and started firing shots. What happened next? Well, let's bring in my colleague Dustin Grove. People were killed in this incident. He came out of the bathroom. Police were thinking that he was getting the ammunition and the guns together. And then what happened, Dustin?
Well, I think, what's so horrific about this, especially horrific, Ann, is that this could have been anybody. It happened at 6 o'clock on a Sunday night inside the mall. And that's what we're learning from relatives of some of those people who died today. I talked with a relative of 30-year-old Victor Gomez, a husband and a father of 3 young children. He was there with his wife and 3 kids. I'm told his wife was using the restroom. He was standing outside. That's when the shooter walked out of the restroom and began shooting. Victor Gomez of Indianapolis was the first victim. Seconds later, the shooter walked into the food court just a few feet away and shot Pedro Pineda and his wife Rosa, both from Indianapolis. The couple was sitting at a table having dinner. The Pinedas were the second and third victims who died. There were also 2 people injured. A 22-year-old woman was struck in the leg. She survived. And a 12-year-old girl was struck in the back by a bullet fragment. Police say she was trying to run away. Now, police told us there were dozens of people inside that food court area at the time running for safety. And they said if not for that young man who was armed and who took out the active shooter, police say they are sure that more people would have been hurt or even killed.
Yes, and they really called him a hero today. Thank you so much, Dustin. So the police investigation now just 24 hours in process. Let's go to Rich Nye with the very latest on what police have learned about the shooter that is suspected in this case. Rich?
Anne Marie, the biggest question tonight remains, why did 20-year-old Jonathan Sapirman go to the Greenwood Park Mall and open fire? We don't know the motive tonight. But here at the Greenwood City Center this afternoon, police gave us many details about how it happened. First of all, the shooter, Sapirman, does not drive. Police believe that he walked to the mall. The shooter fired 24 rounds. The bystander who killed the suspect shooter fired 10 rounds. And this shooting lasted under 2 minutes. Jonathan Sapirman entered the mall entrance behind Dick's Sporting Goods at about 4:54 p.m. His rifle was in pieces inside a bag. He went directly to the restroom in the food court and was there for just over an hour, getting ready, police believe. When he came out, he started shooting people in the food court. First, Victor Gomez, who was killed. Then Pedro and Rosa Pineda, a married couple, eating at a table, also killed. A 22-year-old woman was shot in the leg. She survived and is recovering. Police believe a ricochet fragment hit a 12-year-old girl in the back as she ran from the scene. But the Greenwood police chief says bystander Eli Dickin ended this incident in less than 2 minutes.
His actions were nothing short of heroic. He engaged the gunman from quite a distance with a handgun, was very proficient in that, very tactically sound, and as he moved to close in on the suspect, He was also motioning for people to exit behind him.
The bystander Dickin was carrying a Glock handgun. Saperman fired all his shots from a rifle. Police found another rifle in a bag in the bathroom and a handgun on Saperman's person as well. And they found Saperman's cell phone in the toilet in the restroom at the mall. They also found his laptop in an oven at his apartment, perhaps trying to destroy evidence, Ann.
All right, Rich, thanks so much. Now, we are told from police today that that shooter fired about 22 rounds and that the armed citizen fired about 10, one of them fatally hitting the shooter. We have learned a little bit more about that suspect. His family called him Eli. Police referred to him as Elijah Dickin. He's 22 years old. He's from Columbus. He was at the mall last night with his girlfriend when the shooting went down. We're told that he took action within 2 minutes. Today, our Jenny Runovich traveled to Columbus to talk to that girlfriend's grandmother about this man that police today called a hero.
Well, that armed bystander, Elijah Dickin, friends and family call him Eli, and you are right, so many now call him Hero, too.
Let's go ahead and declare this a mass casualty.
That was police radio traffic during the traumatic event. Police shared new information today about how Eli, the man they call a Good Samaritan, stopped the suspect. Shot him with a handgun just about 1 minute after the gunman started firing into the food court. Eli and his girlfriend Shay were in the food court after spending their Sunday shopping. Shay was coming out of the restroom when she saw a man with a gun. Family says Eli pulled her to the ground, and then police say Eli engaged the shooter, pulled out the pistol he was carrying under the constitutional carry law, and fired 10 rounds at the suspect. The suspect tried to go back in the bathroom, but instead fell to the ground. The threat to shoppers and Eli's girlfriend immediately over.
Well, I just know that I'm so proud of him for what he's done. He saved my granddaughter. I know he did. She said on the phone when she called me, she's, "Grandma, I'm okay," that Eli pushed me out of the way and told me to get down and to stay down. And everybody should be proud of him. You know what I'm saying, for what he's done. Because if not, there would have been a lot more.
Many more people would have died last night if not for a responsible armed citizen that took action very quickly within the first 2 minutes of this shooting.
Shay's grandmother clearly emotional. She says her granddaughter was simply terrified by what happened, may never be able to go into a mall again. But just like her boyfriend Eli, Shay also took action to help despite the trauma. Tonight at 6, we'll show you her heroic actions as well.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much. Now let's go to my colleague, Sierra Putman. She's been learning more about the suspect. She joins us live from the Polo Run apartment complex where he lived, which is just on the other side of the Greenwood Park Mall behind me. Hey there, Sierra.
Well, hi, Anne Marie. And you know, if you look it up on your GPS, walking from here to that mall is about a 15-20 minute walk, depending on how quickly you actually walk. Now, this is what police are telling us. He actually lived in this complex. His exact building is a little further back. We found it and we spoke to some of his neighbors. They tell me that they were evacuated for hours. Some people up to 3 hours. What we know of this suspect is that he's 20 years old. Police say he had recently bought several guns just this year, and he used one, mainly a rifle, during this shooting. Now, as for the suspect, his name is Jonathan Saperman. Police say he does not have an adult criminal history. However, when he was a juvenile, they did have some run-ins with him. He was also listed as a runaway. We also know that he was practicing shooting leading up to this event. Back to you, Anne-Marie.
All right, Sierra. Well, as you can imagine, people were having dinner. They were in the food court, and then something happened, and they fled. We did talk to a woman last night who said, you know, that her daughter had gotten a Build-A-Bear, that they had left it in the food court there. They ran outside. They had left their shoes behind. There's a lot of people that had personal belongings that they left in the mall as they fled the scene, and police would like to get that property back to the rightful owners. You can do that tomorrow. What you do is go to the police center that's at 736 Lowe's Boulevard between 9 and 5. They're asking everyone who was in the mall to come there tomorrow to reclaim their property. So lots of pieces just developing here in the last 3 3 hours about what happened yesterday, who was impacted. The big question tonight, Scott and Felicia, is why? Why this senseless tragedy on a rainy Sunday night here at this suburban mall south of downtown Indianapolis? Back to you.
Okay, Ann, thank you so much. We know it's a lot and it'll take some time to get to the bottom of it. We'll check back in with you all. And like we mentioned at the top of the hour right now, Greenwood police are searching for the person who shot 4 people at a park, killing one of them.
New tonight at 5 o'clock, we're getting a look at the car that police are looking for right now. It's a white Toyota Camry, and our Karen Campbell will have a closer look at that search for the car coming up in about 5 minutes. Also want to let you know there's a vigil tonight to remember the people who lost their lives in that Beech Grove shooting and the one at Greenwood Park Mall. Resurrection Lutheran on Stop 11 Road will host that prayer vigil in just about 2 hours at 7 o'clock.
And these weren't the only mass shootings across the country. 5 people were injured in an early morning shooting in southeast Atlanta. Shots were fired at an apartment complex around 2 a.m. and there was a large gathering in front of the complex when other people arrived and started shooting. The 5 people injured were taken to the hospital. They are between 18 and 42 years old. Police are still searching for those suspects. And we're only a little more than halfway through the year. But after the shooting in Greenwood, we learned there have been more than 349 mass shootings in the U.S. this year.